All right, so welcome back to Coach Cove's Be Well Breakdowns. As always, I'm Coach Cove. Today we're going to be looking at the Warriors versus the Lakers Western Conference semifinal series and breaking down the first two games. We can see right here, this is some old Warriors film. This is just Steph Curry working off the ball. We've talked about it, it's been a common theme the last couple episodes. He's always changing direction, always changing his pace, trying to get a backdoor cut so that he can get a step coming towards the three-point line, because once you kind of got to respect this backdoor cut, you're able to go and kind of fake the backdoor cut and then just come right up and get your step towards the three-point line coming that way. So what the Lakers have come out and done to sort of mitigate the effectiveness of Curry's off-ball movement and Clay's off-ball movement is they go into what we call top block coverage. And that just means that the guy who's guarding Steph and the guy who's guarding Clay, instead of playing between him and the hoop, Austin Reaves right here, Austin Reaves is actually trying to play on top of Clay. You know, everything that you're taught from elementary basketball is to stay between the hoop and your man. You want to make sure that he can't get past you, he can't get to the baseline, he can't get to the rim on you. But that's not what the Lakers do here against Clay and Steph. Because Clay and Steph are so good at changing direction and changing speeds and coming back to the ball to get an open look on the three-point line, the Lakers have come out and said, you know what, we're going to limit what you can do, how you can beat us changing direction. We're going to give up one direction. We're going to make you go to the hoop. You're just trying to actively disrupt what Clay and Steph can do to come get the ball. You have to do something to step. You're literally just making him run through you to come get the ball. You're trying to disrupt him, and you're making every cut. You're making every cut that's going to beat you a cut to the rim. The other part of this top block coverage, you're blocking him from coming to the top. You can see right here, Schroeder is playing above Curry. Troy Brown Jr. is playing above Klay Thompson right here. This is the top block coverage right here. The other part of it is that the Lakers have two guys pretty much just glued to the paint. So right now, this is Rui Hachimura. He's guarding Gary Payton all the way out here. AD is actually guarding Looney right here. D'Lo is guarding Jordan Poole. Schroeder's got Steph, and Troy Brown's got Klay. But watch how this play develops. So AD, like I said, is guarding Looney, but he's all the way he's glued in the paint right here. And so is Roy, who's guarding Gary Payton right here. So we're willing to give up looks for those guys, looks for Payton and Looney, because AD, Roy, and Schroeder are all guarding Steph right now. Even if it doesn't look like it, AD is blocking Steph from going to the hoop. Schroeder is blocking him from coming up. And Roy is pretty much just getting in his way from making this such an easy cut to the ball as well. That's the only reason that those guys are in their position where they're at, and they're so far off their man. When there's that much sort of attention on Steph and Clay for 40 minutes of the game, then Jordan Poole is going to have looks like that. And he hit 5 threes in game one. So again, we can see the top block again. Schroeder's got it on Steph. Troy Brown's got it on Clay right here. Roy is guarding Gary Payton, and AD is guarding Looney. And those two are both sunk all the way down in the paint here, protecting the rim from Steph going that way. But you can see the amount of attention that Steph garners in this position, and the fact that Schroeder has to stay attached to his hip. He's pretty much handcuffed to Steph. That's the coverage that we're in. That's what frees up this open look for Clay right here, because Steph hits AD. Steph sets this screen on AD, and now Looney is able to get a free look on Troy Brown Jr. He's headhunting Troy Brown Jr. on this screen. He just pretty much grabs him, probably gets away with an offensive foul right there too. But it frees up Clay for the look. So because Schroeder is so handcuffed to Steph right here, this first screen is enough to free up a headhunting screen for Looney on Clay, or Looney on Troy Brown. And Clay gets the open look right there. So fast forward to game two, we see the same sort of action off this inbound. Schroeder's so handcuffed to Steph out here that he can't help anything on this first screen. And then Roy gets bumped once, he gets bumped twice, and Clay's got an open look right there. But it starts down here because Schroeder is so attached to Steph, he can't call a switch or anything. He can't even really react to this screen too much because he doesn't want to leave Steph and get a whole lot of separation from him. So once Roy gets bumped the first time, and then the second one, it's just too much space there for Clay. So that was one of the ways that Curry adjusted, was just to start setting off-ball screens for Clay, because he knew that Schroeder couldn't help off on him. But another way he adjusted was this. You know, Schroeder's going to play this top coverage and take away my ability to come get the ball so easily. So I'm just going to change direction and sink beneath. So we saw Steph start to sink beneath and make this sort of cut right here and just go to a different spot. Take this shot rather than taking this shot off the dribble handoff. He takes this shot off the dribble handoff, and it's just a good job to be aware of what the defender is doing and how to get an open look despite a difficult sort of read here. So we've seen that the Lakers are playing that sort of top block coverage with a heavy drop on any ball screen. They're just sticking those guys, LeBron, AD, whoever's guarding Draymond or Looney, in the paint, soaking up space and taking up space down in the paint. Now what the Warriors are doing differently is the Warriors are playing heavy drop, so they're actively protecting the lane on the ball screen against AD and whoever else is going to set a ball screen. But they're also playing heavy help defense, and they're leaving guys like Vanderbilt, like LeBron, Austin Reeves from time to time, D'Lo from time to time, out on the three-point line to soak up space in that lane too. We see right here, Draymond is got a foot in the lane on Vanderbilt. He's not even on the weak side though. He's on the strong side, and he's this far helped off Vanderbilt. We see a big drop right here. Absolutely no attempt to make this ball handler do something off of the screen. Looney is completely worried about AD, so that opens up a lot of space here for LeBron to work with. And being such a good playmaker, LeBron is going to have the ability to hit a lot of these shots. So you can see Steph, he's pretty much getting ready for LeBron to attack this lane. If LeBron attacks this lane, Steph is going to step in. Looney, and that's because Looney is so worried about AD right here. So Steph has got to be the one up. So they're playing heavy drop right here, where Looney is pretty concerned about AD and this ball screener. And then they're playing heavy help too, where they're not attached so much to these shooters on the wing. They're going to live with the Lakers' ability to shoot. And I think that's a good idea. Steve Kerr knows that the Lakers are not a high percentage shooting group from the three-point line. I think they were 25th out of 30 teams in three-point attempts per game. It's really cool to see sort of the dichotomy between the two different defenses. The top block where you're keeping guys from coming towards the ball versus this sort of super heavy drop, heavy help coverage where you're just trying to keep them from attacking the rim. So it's basically the opposite. You're on the Lakers side of things, you're trying to keep Steph and Klay from going towards the three-point line. And on the Warriors side of things, you're trying to keep AD and Bron, Austin Reeves, everyone from getting to the paint because their touches and their looks come from the inside out with the Lakers. And from the Warriors, it's more so with the outside in. You know, their three-point looks and what they can do on the offensive side on the three-point line and coming off ball screens, off-ball screens. That's what frees up their looks inside. We talked about how they're guys like Wiggins, like Iguodala, like Livingston, all these slashing kind of guys, that frees up by Steph and Klay's ability to get open looks on the three-point line. So the Lakers want to mitigate that, Steph and Klay's ability to get out there in the three-point line, and the Warriors want to mitigate the opposite way. They want to mitigate how effective the Lakers are getting to the hoop and kicking out from there. So we'll see on these next two that Austin Reeves and D'Lo are kind of the two guys that the Warriors aren't willing to help off as much on the offensive side of things. D'Lo and Austin Reeves are probably the two best shooters on the Lakers, and they're the two guys who can hurt them the most from outside the arc. So Klay and whoever else is guarding D'Lo and Austin Reeves are just a little bit more tentative to sort of help off and give that extra step into the lane. Here's D'Lo being guarded by Poole, and Schroeder actually gets into a pretty deep, right around the free throw line here. He gets in pretty deep, and he doesn't draw the help from Poole. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. They're just willing to stay more attached to Poole or to Russell and A. Reeves rather than Vanderbilt and even Roy and Dennis Schroeder right here on the three-point line. One of the bigger reasons that the Warriors took a hold of game two was the fact that they were able to get out and run in transition. Steph is looking to advance it up early, and we're able to get behind the defense. And the Lakers do not have a very good defensive transition club. A big reason of that is their age, but another big reason of that is just Anthony Davis and how slow he really is getting up the court. We see it again right here. The Warriors get the ball off the rim, and immediately they're looking to turn up the court and run. So it's 3-on-2 break, and Klay's taking an early three in transition. High percentage look right there for him. Again, off a missed bucket, AD is slow getting back in the backcourt. We got 5-on-4. Easy 2 there for the Warriors. And the very next trip down, we're still running. Pump the quick one, and then get an open look. Again, a high percentage look there for Klay just because we're beating the Lakers up the court. We're beating their defense back and not letting them get set up before we're ready to shoot. So big reason that the Warriors were able to take a jump out here in game two is the fact that they were able to get out and run and tire the Lakers out. So I'd like to take a minute and appreciate just how aggressive LeBron is at attacking this middle part of the basketball court on this play. So it's really the timing that is most impressive to me. You know, at this point, he's got the ball on the block, and there's a good number of bodies down here in the lane, in the painted area, right around the restricted area as well. But you can see 3-5 right here for LA. He's clearing out. And now, as soon as this sort of area clears, LeBron recognizes that, and he attacks middle, goes right against one-on-one on Wiggins, and gets himself to a spot where he feels comfortable shooting the basketball. But like I said, I just think it's really impressive how quickly he recognizes the fact that the spot that he wants to get to is now cleared out, and I'm going to do the most effective thing that gets me to that spot and get a good shot up. So, again, I was listening to that Old Man in the Three podcast with Legler and Reddick, and Legler was talking about how difficult it was to guard Michael in his era because Legler played in the NBA during the 90s. And he talked about how Michael was just, you couldn't take a possession off because he was always looking to attack. He never was passive in the way that he played. He contrasted that to sort of Reggie Miller and a couple other guys who were tentative enough to like go down, and if you chased them around for a good number of trips consecutively, they were much more willing to give the ball up and not look to score as much and as aggressively as Michael. And I think LeBron is in that same category. That's what separates those two from a lot of other guys is the fact that, their foot is just always on the gas. You can't give them an inch because they're going to take a mile sort of thing. So one of the biggest question marks I had coming into this series was Anthony Davis. But it wasn't so much his defensive ability, it was his rebounding. And I thought Looney and Draymond coming off that Sacramento super physical series were going to be a tough task for AD to handle on the boards. But he's held his own so far. What I'm most concerned about now is his defensive presence, and not only the transition fast break stuff, but how much is he willing to step out on Steph and Klay, because Steph and Klay both have this in their bag. Their range is basically once you get over half court. So on any sort of ball screen, if this first guy gets pinned, if Vanderbilt gets pinned on this ball screen, and AD isn't willing to come up higher than the three-point line, Steph's going to shoot this every time. So it's sort of what I've called like a half-hearted sort of blitz right here. We're in the drop coverage because AD is not coming up, he's not coming up a three-point line. He's not really doing a whole lot to affect this shot. He's not blitzing hard, and they're not really switching it either. Vanderbilt's getting the screen, he's working to get back in front, and AD's trying to stall and buy time to allow that to happen. But there might have to be an adjustment made here with Steph and Klay when AD is getting screened, when the guy that AD is guarding is setting the ball screen, because this is just too much space for Steph and Klay, and he gets beat a couple times on this very same half-hearted sort of closeout. So it's the same sort of action on this next play, AD not coming up above this three-point line, and in my opinion, because Schroeder has really had to chase him off this screen from Looney, in my opinion, Steph looks like he's coming off this dribble handoff, this screen action, looking to shoot right here, because this is just enough space for him to get off this shot. And AD, I think he's got to do more to step up, and we got to rely on backside rotational help more. Let other guys beat us. Don't let Steph get to his spot and allow him to work from this position so easily when Schroeder has to chase him through the screen. AD step up a little bit more and just rely on backside rotational help to take away this pass if we need to. I'd like to see him at least get a foot outside the three-point line, because then you allow his length to cover Steph's three-point range a little bit better. It's the very same thing right here. Anthony Davis is getting screened, and we're pinned right now. But AD still unwilling to get his feet above that three-point line. And then Austin Reeves is just late getting back, and AD isn't able to stall long enough for Austin Reeves to get back in front, because it's a good screen here, and Austin Reeves is chasing the whole way. I think AD's got to get a foot above that line and just take away the range a little bit more from Steph and Klay. Another adjustment that the Warriors made against the top block coverage, was just letting Steph start bringing the ball up. You can't stop him. If you give him a high ball screen right here, you run him off one right when he gets to the front court, then you already set up Dennis Schroeder to be out of position. Now AD's got to come help out, and that frees up Klay. We're just still looking to run transition, looking to run fast breaks, looking to beat the Lakers down the court. But that was really the start of a crazy sequence right here, because you can see the Warriors start getting some open looks. They allow Steph to bring the ball up the court. And these last couple minutes of Game 1 were insane. Really good omen for the rest of the series. So just to reiterate what we've seen from the defensive side of things, the Warriors are in this heavy drop, heavy help coverage. They're willing to live with the Lakers' ability to shoot the three-pointer, and in order to stop them from driving to the lane at will. Everyone except for Austin Reeves, pretty much, who's staying attached to a little bit right here. Everyone else is getting a lot of help off of, and they're getting open looks in the three. So we're more concerned about building a wall sort of down low to stop LeBron and AD than we are about putting a hand up and flying out to open looks. And then on the other side of things, the Lakers are in this top block coverage where they're trying to keep Klay and Steph from using their ability to change direction without the ball to keep them from getting open looks to the three-point line. They're cutting them off from coming to get the ball. They're making them run through their body, and they're just making everything a backdoor cut. And the reason that they're doing that is to limit how effective they are at changing direction off the ball. So what the Warriors are looking to do is set a lot of screens. Steph has been setting off-ball screens for Clay because the guy who's guarding him is so attached. So Clay and Steph look for them to be setting a lot of off-ball screens the rest of the series to try and get themselves open looks, and also look for the Warriors to get out and run in transition. If you don't let that defense set up, let them get into that top block coverage, let them get in between the ball and Steph or Clay. If you don't let them set that up and they have to stop the ball first and get back on defense, then you have a lot more higher chance, a higher likelihood of getting a backdoor cut and of getting open looks. Then it's just going to be easier to get high percentage shots if you're running out in transition and beating them down the court. So hopefully you guys are able to learn a little bit and see how these two teams are playing each other. I think this series is going to go the distance, probably going to be a 7-gamer. Really just highly competitive battle between two great teams, two all-time great players in LeBron and Steph, and it's been fun to watch. So yeah, stay tuned for more. We'll keep covering this series. I really like the Knicks and the Heat series in the other half of things, so we'll probably take a look at that one here too. But yeah, stay tuned for more, and always thanks for watching.